Hey Rip City, this is Tumani Kumar, and you're listening to the Blazers Balcony with Brooke Olzendam and Casey Holdahl.
Greetings, Blazer fans, and welcome to the Blazers Balcony presented by Spirit Mountain Casino, episode 163 of the Blazers Balcony presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. I am Casey Holdahl, your co-host. I'm joined by my co-host, friend Brooke Olzendam. We're here in Denver on the final road trip of the regular season for your Portland Trail Blazers. Brooke Olzendam, how are you doing?
It's a bittersweet, this last road trip.
It is.
Because we will not be broadcasting because they're...
Which I was so mad when I heard that.
Me too.
I guess you didn't even get to finish saying it.
Oh,
so,
I guess I should finish. They will be nationally televised. The play-ins, the playoff. We used to be able to do, for the most part, the whole first round.
Yeah.
I mean, we did the first round. And then the second round would get picked up nationally. So, but at least, got to cover the first round. That's so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's playoff basketball. I don't have to even explain it.
It's the whole point of doing all this rigmarole is to get to the playoffs.
Yeah, well, that's
and then you don't get to pay off in the playoffs.
Exactly. It's
Bush
like
League.
You date a guy for a year and it's prom time. Then he's like, I'm taking the hotter, cooler girl. And you're like, I've been with you this whole time.
I was with you shooting in the gym.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll get over it, but I am bummed out.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no two ways around it. That's a bummer. The first round, I don't agree with it, but I at least understand the idea of it. It's like they're selling it to a new company. It's valuable property. Granted, you can still broadcast one over the top. I don't feel like why that should be a big deal, but
I don't know the ins and outs.
But okay. And also, by the way, if you're the national broadcast and we don't get to do our broadcast, you better put us on a good station because also we're able to watch our games over the air. And if you're able to watch all of our games over the air and then in the playoffs you're like, oh yeah, now you need ESPN or this, that, and the other thing. Casey doesn't like that very much. But what I was going to get to is I at least understand not getting to broadcast playoff games. Play-in games should be ours. Mm-hmm. That is not fair. They don't count towards playoff stats. They don't count towards regular season stats. That is something different. It's right after the season gets done. If we were on the road and it finished, then we would go straight from the road game to the play-in game if we were on the road for the play-in, and you guys would still be with us anyways. So, not being able to do the play-in to me seems like that. It feels like that's a shame.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, me neither. And I didn't mean to go down this.
I'm glad you brought it up though, because it's an important part about talking about the end of the season.
Yeah, that's my point is that this is, from all I know, unless something is added. I mean, my role in the playoffs would maybe change. Remember back in the day when I had Facebook Live?
I do, and it did great.
It did great. It was scary at first. The first time I did it, I was so scared because there's no set plan. It's like, my producer, Danny, would go grab people and be like, can you come do this? Can you come do this? And I just had to talk the entire time between. And I'm like, I can talk, but usually I'm better talking to someone rather.
I'm a veteran of the streaming shows era, Brooke. So I have done a lot of talking and trying to fill time.
You're really
good.
I
don't know, but I can do it. I don't know if I'd say I'm good at it, but I can do it. But the Facebook Live, that was good stuff.
It was fun.
That's what people want to see in a stream anyways. They want you to be live where stuff is happening, not even necessarily in the forefront, but in the background. So you got the players warming up. And then I think it makes a whole lot of sense because, you got people coming and going. I remember you had Ron Wyden on, I think.
We had Sabrina?
Yeah. I mean, those are – and the thing about these kind of shows, too, is that they can be hard to book in advance because it's everyone's got stuff going on. And when you're asking over email or text, it's easy enough to be I don't really know.
Right.
If someone's walking by you, you're like, hey.
I'm live.
I'm live.
They're going to hear you say no.
People it.
No, they did it.
It works. Exactly. It is a good content form.
Yeah, no, that's so funny. We had that amazing guy that that worked at the high school that stopped the shooting.
Oh, right. And he was Oregon Duck.
Yeah, Oregon Duck. Yeah.
Oh, my
God.
goodness.
I know. I follow him, too. We both have our hands on our head. He's the nicest
He's
man
awesome.
ever.
Yeah.
But anyway, you find him. He came on and I can see him right now. I see his Instagram.
Oh, I follow him. He follows me.
Same.
We've sent messages
Same. God, I'm going to kick myself when you say his name. I'm so mad right now. But that was good. Those were good times. Maybe I'll see if we can bring it back. Who knows? But that was fun. So the whole point of saying all of this is that this is essentially the last road trip of the season. It was kind of bittersweet. It is beautiful here in Denver. I was telling Casey I have one of the weirdest quirks to my hotel room I've ever seen.
Keenan Lowe.
That's right, Keenan. I knew that. I could see.
I knew it was an L too. I was like, I didn't want to say the wrong thing, but Keenan Lowe, you're awesome.
You're a legend.
You're a hero.
Yes, absolutely. Nice guy. So walk into my hotel room, and where you go to look out the window out to the city is a whole other empty room. So I'm essentially looking into an empty. What do you call it? A mezzanine?
It's a mezzanine. Yeah.
Okay, a mezzanine. I mean, I've heard the term mezzanine. I guess I didn't really know that's what it was. So I'm looking into an empty room where at any point I feel like someone's just going to like walk up to the window and be like, "Hey!"
Yeah.
It's one of the weirdest setups I've ever seen in my life.
It is a weird setup. We have stayed in this hotel years and years and years ago, and I've had that room before. And like I was telling you, when I was there, it looks nicer now. When I was in that room, that open space was filled with AstroTurf, and they would put the potted plants there, and that's where they would like water their potted plants. Like I literally remember seeing a guy watering plants when I was there, and I was like, "Oh, so you're there? This is my room? Yeah, this is kind of weird."
So I feel like at least I would have had something to look at if there was plants in the other room. It's literally empty. It's the weirdest thing ever.
It almost kind of looks like a dance studio.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. It's like really good light too.
Really good light.
You don't get it. Yeah.
No, I don't get that. I can see the window that has the good light through my window over.
Like there should be like a door to that area. You should be able to like sunbathe out there or something if you want.
I agree. I think there's probably like 6 or 7 rooms that.
So we stayed here when we were here a week ago, 10 days ago, playing the Nuggets when we stayed at this hotel. And we got in late, and when I saw the room numbers too, I've been like. I wouldn't say I threw a fit, but I like to the person that was like holding the elevators for us. I was like, "Is this one of those mezzanine rooms? Because I hate those rooms. I need to be able to see outside." And that point in time, we'd been on the road for a little while too, so I was like, "If I get one of those rooms," and she's like, "Well, sir, I don't have all the room numbers committed to memory, but I know you're somewhere in that general vicinity."
Oh, that's funny.
And I was literally one room away from it. So,
and you're kind of only one or two away from it
I'm one or two away from it this time too.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah. I was like, "Whoa, this is." Interesting, but if you just close the blinds, you don't even know that it's like that out there.
But you need to be able to see. I think it's important, particularly when you travel a lot, to be able to see outside, see what's going on, see that there is a living world out there, and it's not just all gyms and hotels and buses and planes and so on and so forth. So I understand.
I'll come down to your room if I need that.
Yeah, there you go. I do have a fainting couch here too.
This
by
is
the way,
a very large couch.
You have to be careful though, like because the end part is actually like marble there.
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, if you like slammed your head down
that
there,
would be rough.
That would be rough. But there is also outlets in it as well, which
that's very nice.
I love a couch with an outlet. I've never had one before, but like I really like the idea. I think my next couch will have an outlet.
I like furniture, all sorts of furniture that has outlets with the desk, with the side
for
tables.
Sure. Having the outlets and the USBs in the side table, that is a incredibly important amenity to have in your hotel, particularly for someone like myself that travels with a fan and it's a USB powered fan. So you got to remember to bring like an extension cord, or else you won't be able to get it. And you want to be able to charge your phone and your laptop and your iPad while also having your fan on, so you need a lot of different outlets.
You're your watch as well.
Oh, I am incredibly high. When it comes to electricity, I am wildly high maintenance, Brooke. I mean, if I had my little traveling case that I put my cord stuff in, it is. I'm to the point now where if I even think, I'm like, well, maybe I'll use that, I just throw it in.
Just
so
in case.
I have every single kind of, I'm jinxing myself incredibly here, but I have just about every single kind of cord you could have.
Okay.
So if you ever need one, if you need the old style iPhone charger, I got that. If you need the new style USB-C, Lightning, multiple watch chargers. So I don't think you wear an Apple Watch.
I don't.
That's not your wave.
No. My watches that I rarely have that I wear don't even work.
Yeah.
They're just for looks.
Yeah, they're just for
Seriously.
Your phones nowadays too. Like it should be that way. So
they haven't worked for years. I don't remember the last time my watches worked.
But you did get a new watch recently.
I did.
I
did.
Well, I was like, Brooke got a new Tissot watch.
Is that how you say it, Tissot? Yeah,
it's NBA sponsor, Tissot.
That's right. I've never said it out loud before. I see it everywhere, but I've never. One of those words.
What do you say, Tussit?
No, I was going to say Tissot.
Tissot?
No, Tissot.
Yeah,
I don't
Tissot.
know. Yeah, no, I love a big watch. We know
Yeah.
this. Casey got me one for Christmas.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. But the one thing that you don't bring that I have forgotten is a curling iron. So you're not.
Yeah,
100%
no, I am.
there
What do you think would happen if I tried? I don't think my hair is strong enough at this point. Like, I think it would literally just like evaporate.
Burn off.
Yeah, like I think my wispy, balding hair would. I mean, like
let's not
it would
try
be
it.
fried, but like. I legitimately think it might just disappear.
Well,
Like,
your hair is of a thinner nature.
yeah,
It's
yes,
softer.
yes.
And-
Thinner is definitely one way to put it.
Well,
yes.
I mean, I have really thick hair,
Sure.
so I mean, I can really keep that curling iron there for longer than most. I shouldn't, but I do. But very thin hair, like I've seen many YouTube where someone sits down and they put the curling iron on and they move it and the whole thing of hair comes out.
Oh,
It's like my
wow.
nitemarre,
Ugh.
yeah, and it just burns off. So let's not.
Though I mean,
experiment on
I
that.
do feel like this is maybe a steamer hotel, so maybe you could just get a brush and just like steam it.
Right,
I mean, you can
too
curl,
close to your-
but
oh, you're talking about me or you?
well, yeah, it takes 15 seconds to do. There's basically not a whole lot I can do with
let's
my
not
hair.
steam your hair either.
Yeah, no,
Let's just
we're
keep it
not
how it is.
steaming. But just if you didn't bring your curling iron, there's some
true.
other way to do
I'd
it.
figure it out.
And the last hotel had the Dysons too, which
Oh, that's
I'm always
true.
impressed by the Dyson. I mean, I don't use them, but I'm impressed by Dyson hair dryers.
Do you remember when it was like year 2 and I forgot my curling iron? So I called down to the hotel lobby just to see like if anyone, it was like day of the game, it was the first game of the road trip. I was like, I cannot believe this. I forgot my curling iron. Has someone left on a lost and found? Sometimes they have things down there just for guests, in case forgot something. And she's like, let me check. I'm not sure. She comes back. She's like, I can't believe it. I found one in lost and found. And she's like, I'll send it right up. And it came up. It was the one where the barrel was like the size of a highlighter.
Oh, so it's like a baby curls.
Yeah, but I'm like, I guess we're doing this.
Doing that, yeah.
And it was like, I looked like, I'm a big ballet fan, so I looked like the little girls from the Nutcracker.
Sure, yeah.
Literally. So I just had to keep brushing it out. And I mean, it was something. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but looked very different than normal.
Yeah, we'll have to see if anyone who's listening can hark back to.
I would love to hear.
To the early days of Brooke's time with the team when she had to do a small curling iron. Your Portland Trailblazers are in the waning days of the 2025-26 season, as we mentioned, on the last road trip of the season, starting Monday versus the Nuggets here in Denver, and then wrapping up the road schedule, regular season schedule at least, on Wednesday versus the Spurs in San Antonio. But your Portland Trailblazers in 8th place with just 4 games to go, half game up on the Clippers, by way of defeating the Pelicans the other night and winning 8 of their last 10, including the game versus the Clippers in Los Angeles a few days ago as well. So the Blazers kind of rounding into form, I would say, at the right time. I feel like guys like Jrue Holiday has been, I feel like, great lately. I think Denny has been as good as he's been since the back injury. I feel like the rotating group of Matisse and Rob and Kris have all been really good as of late, coming off the bench as well. I feel like Matisse too is really kind of finding his rhythm on both sides of the ball. And then everyone else kind of playing just some good, steady basketball. And that's even without Jeremy Grant, who is still sidelined with that calf injury. Scoot Henderson has been starting in his place and doing an admirable job of that. So Blazers, again, you want to be playing your best basketball at the end of the season generally. And I would say right now the Blazers probably playing their best. In their last 10 games, they have the number 1 ranked defense and the 14th net rating, or the 4th best net rating, which is your offensive rating and your defensive rating, and kind of meeting in the middle there. That's where your net rating is. So the Blazers really, again, kind of rounding into form a little bit as they have tried to improve their position going into that play-in tournament. I will remind you once again, because I keep saying it over and over and over again, you definitely want to be in at least 7 or 8 in the play-in tournament. I don't think 7 is, maybe it's mathematically possible, but it's rather improbable. But 8th is still very much in play, and if you're in 7 or 8, you only have to win 1 game to move on to the playoffs. If you were in 9 or 10, you have to win twice, and you can't lose once, or else you're out. So if you get into 8th, you at least give yourself you win the first game, and you're in. And if you don't win the first game, you play the winner of the 9-10. So you have 2 chances to win 1 game in order to get to the playoffs. So it's definitely advantageous to get into 7 or 8. And as of right now, the Blazers are in 8th. obviously 2 very difficult games coming up here to finish off their road schedule. So if they're able to get even one of these games, then you feel really good about getting 8th. But if they don't get either one, I still think you have a really good chance, depending on kind of what the Clippers end up doing. So just a whole lot going on, a whole lot of excitement, a whole lot to pay attention to at this point in time in the season, which, to be perfectly frank, for the last 3 or 4 seasons for the Portland Trail Blazers, at this point in time, there was not a whole lot to pay attention to, or at least in terms of the actual NBA basketball. Maybe you were paying attention to the tournament, considering what the Blazers were going to do in the draft, but you weren't really necessarily paying a whole lot of attention to what the Blazers might be doing in the postseason / playoffs. And this season, that is the case. So a nice change, Brooke. I feel like, some great crowds at Moda Center, a lot of enthusiasm. I feel like fans are excited about the way the team is playing. Obviously, having a new ownership group coming in, we'll talk about that as well. I think that adds to the enthusiasm and just kind of the feeling that, things are changing and moving and maybe transitioning and going from a team that, again, has missed the playoffs for a couple of years now to, being in the play-in and having a legitimate chance to make the playoffs. I think that's something that's exciting for people in the city. So, I think the way that this season has gone, it's been up and down. Like, there's been really good segments. There's been really crappy segments. But it seems like, again, here at the end of the season with 4 games to play, things seem to be kind of coming together a little bit for the Trailblazers. Oh,
yeah, it's exciting times. That game at LA, too, was
one of the most fun games.
One of the most fun games.
Yeah, in the last couple of years.
And there's just a lot going on. It was a busy day. A lot of people were, in town for the game from Portland, from the Trailblazers organization, just like lots of excitement. And it's kind of felt like, okay, this is, I don't know, turning point's not even the right word I'm looking for, but that was like a statement win, and not to mention just so much fun. That just felt like, okay, it's not just like the push to the playoffs, which we've been saying, like this legitimate, and it's not just to get into the playoffs or the play-in, it's to actually, work to get up to 8 and hopefully hold on to 8. And that was obviously a huge win that pretty much, counted for 2, really.
Yeah, if they hadn't won that game versus the Clippers, again, they wouldn't have been mathematically eliminated, but feasibly,
right,
they would have been out for a chance to get 8th.
Well, also, I'm just looking at pulled up the Clippers' rest of their schedule. They have 5 games remaining.
Yeah,
Sacramento, Mavericks, Oklahoma City, and us, and then the Warriors.
Yeah,
it's just I just wanted to kind of see.
We need Oklahoma City to try in that game. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid that they're not going to have anything to play for at that point in time. Mm-hmm. They're close with the Spurs, so I think that they may be mathematically. Let me pull up the standings here real fast. Oh, there we had them up. How about that? Yeah, so the Thunder right now are 2.5 games up on the Spurs. And so I think at that point in time, Oklahoma City will, I think, have 2 games remaining. Mm-hmm. So hopefully they need to win that game, because I gamed this out a few days ago. If we win 1 or 2 games on this road trip, then that game versus the Clippers on Friday, it's still important, but it becomes far less important for the Trailblazers. We can still make the 8th seed if we win one of these 2 games. If we don't win one of these 2 games, then we go into that game on the 10th at 41-40, I believe. And if the Clippers beat the Kings and the Mavs and lose to Thunder, they enter that game a half game up on us. So if they end up winning that game in that scenario, the Clippers are 8th, we're in 9th. If the Blazers win that game in that scenario, and then which would mean the teams would be tied at that point in time, and then both teams each have 1 game to play. They play the Warriors, we play the Kings. And if both teams win that game, we finish the season with a tied record. But at that point in time, we'll have split the season series, so the applicable tiebreaker is conference record, and we have a better conference record than the Clippers. I believe we're 20. I think we have 27 conference wins. They have 22 conference wins, which it stinks how bad we were against the East this year, but at least we were better versus the West. True. Because in that scenario, we would win the tiebreaker and get the 8th seed, and they would get the 9th seed. So we need a little help. We need Oklahoma City to win that game. It would really help us out. Or we need to get one of these next two games versus the Nuggets and the Spurs. Unfortunately, both the Nuggets and the Spurs are playing some really good basketball right now. That game versus the Nuggets and Spurs went to overtime. The Nuggets won one of the better games that I have seen this season.
Yeah.
So both those games are going to be tough. Not impossible. We won in San Antonio this year, right? Now, granted, I don't think Wembanyama played in that game. In fact, I know he didn't play in that game. But we did win that game. So, that's not nothing.
That's not nothing.
I don't believe we've won a game. Well, we only had one game here in Denver, and we did not win that one. We did win a game versus Denver at home this season on Halloween night, a great win. That was kind of the – if guys hadn't gotten injured, like that was the game where you're like, hey, boy, these guys might be kind of good. I mean, are we on the level of the Nuggets? Maybe not. But, like, if we compete on a night-in, night-out basis, we can throw all these different bodies at these guys. That's a squad. Yeah. Fortunately, it didn't necessarily play out that way, though we're kind of getting back to that a little bit now, I think. So a lot to play for in these two games for the Blazers. If they're able to if they can peel off one of these games, they really improve their chances of getting into eighth. If not, again, we got to get a little bit of help from the Thunder or the Mavs, the Mavs are not bad. Like the Mavs could beat the Clippers. We need a little help, or we need the Warriors to beat the Clippers in the last game of the season. At that point in time, I don't think the Warriors will probably have anything to play for.
That's next door.
Okay, next door, great.
That doesn't mean they're not coming
I guess
next.
they could come in, but we're working here, man. So I guess I probably should have put the sign up there, but I didn't. So also if you don't have the button that just turns on the sign outside, step your game up, hotel.
Sorry.
Hi. No turn down for us. Good, thank you. Also, turn down at 5:35? That's too early for turn down service.
I don't even get turn down service.
I don't either, because it's like at best, like, yeah, you can give me some ice, but like that's all. And like, is it literally like they unfold your bed
and put
for you?
I didn't see if she had chocolate. I should have asked for that.
The rich chocolates are good, but I feel like they don't hand those out as much anymore.
No, I didn't put a privacy on mine, so maybe there's chocolate on my bed when I get back.
You did not put the privacy on? Oh yeah, so you might have a bucket of ice and some chocolates.
Oh, well,
you'll have to let me know.
I will. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
We're talking about the schedule. The Trailblazers schedule, and just how there's just a lot still to play for at this point in time of the season for the Blazers,
absolutely.
Which is awesome.
It's been fun. It's been really fun. You mentioned it earlier, but the play of Denny and Jrue, I mean, Drew's just been unreal and just so cool and calm, and just that's how he is, and like his mannerisms and his personality is like that. But like it really translates to his play. Mm-hmm. Like doesn't get rattled, doesn't get frustrated, and he just is really just a great leader out there. And Jeremy earlier this season had said that to me in one of our interviews, that's our leader. Jrue, that's out there on the floor. He goes. We follow, and he is. He's truly been a leader on and off the floor, and Scoot's given him a ton of credit too for helping him. But right now at this point in the season, it's so valuable to have a guy like Jrue on the team, and then Denny. And also, I totally agree. It's been so fun to watch that second unit come out and just up the ante. Like they get in there, and like we interviewed Kris the other day. I will say also it was national game as well, and so Denny was interviewed, and then. Jrue was the other one because he's back in LA. So when PR came up there, I'm like, I know this is because that's got to be a little extra stressful when they have like way more people to find for interviews, So I just said, what?
And also new ownership in town too.
I just said, just to make your life easier, we want Kris Murray. She's like, oh, great, okay. And then she's like, great, that answers that.
That Clipper game might have been the best game that Kris has played as a professional. Like, I mean, the stats obviously don't jump off this page, though. I mean, he did put up some good stats, but like, I feel like he was so like he got so many tip-ins. Like, I feel like he got his hands to the ball so many times. I feel like positionally, there was like one play where he didn't get credit for the turnover, but basically like he like crossed in front of a guy knowingly to disrupt his rhythm, and then someone, I think it was maybe Matisse, that like took the ball from it, and I was like, that's a heck of a play right there. Like, and so like, I thought Kris was really good in that. I mean, he's been really good lately, but in that, I felt like, I don't know that they win that Clippers game without Kris in that game, because again, he just had so many just little plays here and there that were like, those are the things that result in winning. And
I told Casey this, but this is like the most Kris Murray thing. So, when I'm getting ready for walk-off, I'm listening to Kevin, and, our producer goes, "You ready?" And I just give a thumbs up, to the camera. And then they say, "Okay, Kevin, you can throw it. Brooke's ready," with Kris. And so I, have my ears in, so I can only hear myself. And so I'm like getting ready to like, "Thanks, Kevin." And then as I'm waiting there, usually whoever I'm going to interview is just kind of standing waiting. And Kris just starts talking to me. He's like, "That was a really fun game, wasn't it? Man, that was really fun." I was like, "Oh, what?" So if you watch the interview, I was like, "Wait, what'd you say?"
Yeah.
Because he just started talking like we were just having a normal conversation.
Yeah.
Totally. Just like chit chat. It was so funny. Like I started asking the question. I'm like, "Oh, he's talking to me." I'm like, "Okay, what'd you say?" He's like, "I was just saying that was a really fun game." And I was like, "Wow." I'm like, yes, keep going. It was just so cute. It was like so Kris Murray.
That's great. Yeah. And so they get that one. And Jrue too. Like Jrue had he's been really good this season, but I feel like in fourth quarters he's been great. I actually looked it up today. I think he's shooting 50% from three in the fourth quarter over the last 15 games. It feels to me like anytime they need a bucket or a play, like Jrue is, you're exactly right. Like he's so calm and collected, and like he's like, I'm just gonna deliver it.
I got this.
He's been kind of asked, I feel like, a couple times if he's kind of like trying to do a little bit more or taking on more of a role. Every time he's like, no,
he says,
not really.
I'm just looking for my shot.
Looking for my shot, trying to make the right play.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, you're right. But I also think you're doing a little bit more right now. Like, you understand the situation. And that's, I've said it over and over again. That's why you go out and get a guy like Jrue, because he understands where they're at right now. Yeah. Like, he knows what it means to be playing basketball that means something at this point in time in the year. And he's played basketball, obviously, that meant something, in the finals. So you understand what it takes. You're not necessarily rattled by the situation. You've been there before, so you're accustomed to it. And the way that you always conduct yourself, which is always kind of at a baseline level of competency and of not getting rattled, like that just comes through even more when you're in a situation where you kind of assume, like, boy, there must be tense down there. Like, guys are, that's when you kind of make some mistakes. And Jrue really has not made any mistakes in crunch time. Like, he's making the right play. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's bringing everyone along with him. He understands the stakes. I think I like the way that they've been playing the lineups lately, where it seems like a lot of times Denny starts as kind of the team's primary ball handler. And I think that allows Jrue to kind of float a little bit. We haven't even talked defensively. He was fantastic in that game versus the Clippers. I think a lot of people assumed that Tumani was going to be the guy that picked up Kawhi, ended up being Jrue. And, you're not going to shut Kawhi down, but they slowed him down, particularly in the first half. He just wasn't ever really able to kind of he got going a little bit more in the second half, but not the way he would have if he had gotten rolling in the first half. And Jrue was a big reason for that. So, he's just, again, that's why you need Jrue Holidays. Like, you need those kind of guys on your team because they understand the situation. They're a kind of a force multiplier when you're talking about what you need from your players late in games, late in the season. And he's just almost like a cheat code in that regard, because there's nothing he hasn't seen. And that's his personality anyways, to that point. He's always kind of at that level where he's unbothered as it is. And so I think when the guys see that throughout the course of the season, and then they see it when it gets to crunch time, I think it carries an even added significance, because it's like, oh, this is the way this guy always is. This is the way this situation always is. I shouldn't necessarily put more on it anyways. If the way that you're supposed to act is that this is just always how it goes, and you're always ready regardless of what the situation is, then you're always prepared. And I feel like that's what Jrue Holiday is. It's like he's always ready to go. He's always prepared. And it really shows itself late in season when everyone starts playing hard. In the middle of the season, effort goes up and down, both your own and your opponents. This time of year, any team that is trying to do something is playing hard. They're playing every possession. And when you get into that kind of situation, that's when guys like Jrue Holiday, I feel like, shine the most.
And I feel like it's a calming effect for everyone. It's contagious. If you look out there and see, well, he's not, as you mentioned, rattled. Drew's, he's chill. He knows the assignment. I feel like should feel like that too. It's like, okay, Drew's good, then we're good. We're good. It's just one of those things where you look over and you see someone who's been there before, and is still focused and knows what the game plan is and isn't like, this moment's too big. It's never like that for Jrue, that you could just kind of like, it's like I said, just a little bit contagious. And the rest of the guys who haven't necessarily been in situations like this before, in terms of getting to the playoff, or when we actually do get there, that's going to be, a new situation for them. So I think Jrue is the perfect person to kind of look to for guidance. And and he's really great with the young guys, just talking, saying like, this is what I see. I mentioned this before, I believe, but Coach said like a couple weeks ago, he was asked about Jrue, and he said, Drew's the guy where, like, I'm writing up a new play or I'm doing something. I look at Jrue, I say, what do you think?
Yeah.
Like he's the first person he asks, what do you think? And I think that's such a compliment to look to your players, especially like a guy like Jrue, who could, and he'd be the first to be like, well, I don't really think this would work there, or I like that, whatever. Like, he'd be honest. And I just think that says a lot about who Jrue is, that coaches are looking to him when they're doing stuff like that and getting his opinion on things.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, too. Thiago being a young head coach, to have a veteran guy like Jrue, who I think like Thiago's like 41, I think Drew's like 36. So, kind of contemporaries a little bit if you think about it. And so to have a guy like Jrue that you can kind of look to be like, what do you think? Yeah, like, and also I think when you're a head coach in that situation too, like getting a player like Jrue to be like, yeah, let's do that, like that like stamps your idea too, which I think, again, players trust players. They trust coaches, but I think they look to players more. And so when you have a guy that's like, yeah, that's a good idea, we should do that, I think that, again, that increases the buy-in up and down the rosters. Totally. So, they're kind of, they figured a few things out, it seems like. Part of it is, the schedule has been easier. That is part of why the Blazers have been able to go on this run, but that's something we knew anyways. And they had a more difficult schedule, and it's always one of those things too. It's like, yeah, you're number one in defense, but look at some of the teams you're playing. It's like, yeah, fair, but when we're playing better teams and we're losing those games, no one's like, well, but you're playing better teams though, so it's okay. It's like, yeah, that only goes one way. It's only like, yeah, you're allowed to win against the good teams and us not care, but you're not allowed to lose against the good teams and us not care. It's like, no, I'm going to take both. So it's great to see the Blazers playing this way. And again, it gives them a chance to, if they do end up making the postseason, feeling like they've got a little momentum going into it. Like if they were in 8th right now and they were, had gone 5-5 in their last 10, then it's nice to make the playoffs, but you're probably like, boy, we're kind of backing into this thing. Like, at least with the way that they've played as of late, and particularly if they're able to get one of these 2 games on the road, I'm going to keep saying that.
No, it's true.
If they're able to do that, then I think that really gives a team a bit of a boost, a bit of confidence, and a feeling like, yeah, this is as healthy as we've been. This is as good as we're playing. We feel like we were a better team at the beginning of the season before everyone got injured, and now we're kind of back to a little bit closer to where we're at before. And that team we felt like could have been competing for 5, 6, 7,
right,
instead of 7, 8, 9. So I think it gives them a bit of confidence if they're able to get there, just because the way they're playing right now, and obviously they have to be playing the way they're playing right now in order to even have a chance to get into the playoffs. But if they do, they will be benefited by the way that they've had to play to get to the playoffs. So,
well said.
Thank you, Brooke.
Yep.
Well, moving on just a little bit too, as you mentioned, Brooke, and as I mentioned as well, the Rip City Rising ownership group, taking control of the team last week, had their first press conference on Thursday prior to the victory versus the Pelicans at Moda Center. And we're all just kind of getting to know the new group. And I think that, that press conference, I think a lot of good stuff coming out of that press conference. I think, the first chance for them to kind of get in front of at least the media as a whole, and being able to have an opportunity to kind of speak directly to fans in a lot of ways. And I felt like it went great. I thought that, the stuff that Tom talked about in terms of his kind of beginnings and how he views sports and the importance of it in his life, and, the competitive nature of things. I thought that was great. I thought that Shields' comments about kind of what sports can do for a community and how it can bring people together.
Really
Obviously, that's always been a huge part of, I think, why some of us have been in this field and have stayed in this field when, times have kind of gone up and down. And I thought Andrew Chern talked about, being like, yeah, basketball is big internationally. It's big in China. We got a Chinese guy on the team, and that's something I'm interested in.
Yeah,
so
great.
So the whole thing, I was like, yeah, this is good. Like this is. You never know exactly kind of how things are going to go in those first couple days, and I feel like they've gone really well. And I know that you've spent a little bit of time with some of them doing some inner office stuff too. So I'd say again, in terms of kind of the first days of a new ownership group, to have the win in Los Angeles that a lot of them were there for, and then follow it up with a win versus the Pelicans, having the press conference, playing meaningful basketball in April. Playing some pretty good basketball. I'm sure it probably doesn't hurt to have a new group kind of seeing what's going on, and maybe that increases some of the competitiveness a little bit as well. Who's to say? But either way, I would say a good first week for the Rip City Rising ownership group.
Yeah, no, I thought the press conference was great. Great turnout. My goodness, That place was packed. I thought it was great, and I thought they were very transparent, honest about everything, and just kind of. And I appreciate how to the point that Tom gets where he's like, I don't like to lose. I hate it. It makes me feel physically ill. He's like, I like to win. It's what we need to be focused on. And I mean, if you're a Blazers fan, who doesn't want to hear that, right? Who doesn't want to hear he wants to win? And I really appreciated Shields' comments too about the city and what it means to him. This is his town. His daughter was born there. I thought that was really impactful. And I did do, Lamar and I worked an event for sponsors and partners, and I interviewed Joe one-on-one, and then he interviewed Tom, and I think it was a good juxtaposition, so they got to hear kind of behind the scenes stuff with Joe, and the mostly team centric stuff, and then hear ownership stuff from Tom, and it was great. It was like everyone walked away being like, that was really informative. I feel like, okay, I see the vision. I got it. So that was, I think, really successful. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind of a week.
It really has.
I don't know how they dealt with it, because I mean, the amount of people that they're meeting in that short amount of time, and like important conversations to be had. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, we don't have a ton of meetings, or I don't have a ton of meetings because just our in our broadcast group. But I mean, to think about bam, bam, bam all day long, like that would overwhelm me. And they're, like I said, very important things are being talked about. So I'm sure that it was craziness for them, roller coaster, but. It was. I mean, it had to be fun too. I mean, they're 2-0.
Yeah, no, and it's exciting, and I mean, especially they were there for the game versus the Clippers, and they flew back. We got bitten super late from that game, and then I was thinking, I was like, well, I'm going to go home and go to bed, and I'm going to get up, I'm going to sleep in, and then I'll get to work, and they're like, but these guys are. Going right to it at 8:00 in the morning. Yes. Right back into meetings. So
no, the thing I did was at 1-ish, and they were in meetings the whole time, and then they came out to do the interviews, and then went right back to him.
Well, and when you've been, because they were announced as the prospective ownership group. What, was it before the start of the season, or? It's been a while ago, so 8-9 months. And so you're waiting to kind of take over, and you're watching the team, and you got ideas and thoughts about what you'd like to do and what you'd like to see, and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally it turns over. So then I'm sure it's like, finally, we get to kind of put our stamp on this thing. So I'm guessing those first couple of days are really, one, exciting, but two, also we've been waiting to get into this for so long, and we've been watching, not from afar necessarily, but watching from a place where we can't necessarily, make decisions or define what we should do. And I thought that, Tom's comments about the trade deadline and how, there was a deal the team considered that, would have made a quote unquote big splash, and that, he would like to be aggressive, going into the off season. I think you probably make some assumptions from that. I thought that was an interesting comment. And again, just kind of speak to the idea of boy, if we could have been in here at the deadline, maybe, we do something there. Right. So just I'm sure for them, it was really let's get this thing going. And because also too, I could see being when you're going to take over with 6 games left in the season and you only got a couple weeks, why not just wait till the season's over and then kind of get to it then? And it's well, because we've been waiting for so long to get this thing started. They're no, I don't want to waste a single day, a single game, a single opportunity to start kind of making the progress we want to see get made. So it has been a whirlwind for them and for us. And, I think that, they're obviously like there's going to be the discussion of the renovations and how, I think, they're trying to secure the financing and getting all that squared away. It's like a 3-year plan to basically get the arena where it needs to be in time for the women's Final Four in 2030. So again, a lot going on, and it's going to continue to go on. It's going to be a busy off season, but hopefully the off season doesn't start here for a little bit, because it'd be nice to make the playoffs. Now, granted, the Blazers, if they do make the playoffs this year, do not have the draft pick this year, and people are excited about this draft. But I also get the sense from this group that they're about winning, and they want to win, and if that winning comes at a cost, that's a price that they're willing to pay. So I think that, again, just a really interesting time for the team, and hopefully for fans as well. And again, I think that fans are excited. Whoever the people were that shouted at me, "Go Blazers," when I was leaving downtown Milwaukee, the Frem, yesterday, thank you for yelling at me. I appreciate that. It's always nice to hear from the fans. So yeah. No,
I think the fans are. It also helps, and Tom said this too, which is very telling, because he owns another team. He's kind of been through this process in a different sport, but he spoke to the character of the guys of the team. Like, this is a really great group. Like, no egos, and you and I have been saying that.
We do have it is a really good team. Like, locker room wise, like personality wise, there is not a single guy that I'm like, I don't like this guy. And there's usually one or two guys you're like, yeah, I could take him or leave him. This team literally doesn't have a single one of those guys. Everyone is kind. Everyone is nice. They don't belittle you or kind of talk down to you. Like, I think they all understand generally what we do and appreciate what we do.
Yes.
So yeah, it is a good group of guys to walk in to as well, because like I could also see as new ownership kind of like looking around and being like, who are these guys, and to have it come back and be like, hey, these guys are all good dudes. Like, that's a good place to start.
Yeah, especially because he's looking at it as a business, obviously, and so when you come in, you're figuring out like what do I want to do here, what do I want to do here, and it's kind of like a luxury. Oh, by the way, this team is like a really great group of guys. Like, it's a team that I want to win for everyone and for myself and for our ownership group, but this is a team that I would root for either way. And so it's nice to hear that, we already know it, but it's nice to, it has to be somewhat of a, I don't know, like a relief, but like to be like, oh, great, this team is worth fighting for. Like, these guys they're a great group, and that's got to be nice to, when you really don't know when you get into it. You're not like, they'll call you and they tell you this team's for sale, and they, well, is the chemistry good?
Yeah,
are they nice guys?
Are they good dudes?
Yeah. So it's nice to like walk in and be like, okay, like not pleasantly surprised, but it just, wow, okay, that's great. That's helpful.
Yeah. Well, and it's too, like, when you're walking in the locker room, you're like, and you just bought something, and yeah, so like it'd be like, this is probably not the best analogy in the world, but you buy like a used car, and then you get in and you're like, no, this thing drives pretty well. And all of a sudden, like, smoke comes out of the engine. You're like, oh, now I have to deal with this thing right away. Like, I was hoping to at least get a little bit of a run with this thing where like I didn't have to like
totally
I didn't have to like do a lot of fixes and so on and so forth, or have issues. And I think with the team, it's a little like that. And like, if you're in the locker room and you're kind of seeing the way guys talk to each other, and if it becomes obvious that there's one or two guys that you're like, yeah, this guy maybe just doesn't fit, or like maybe this guy's going to kind of be a problem, that's something that I think as a new ownership group, you're probably thinking in your head like, well, we're probably going to have to address this sooner rather than later. So to not really have that, it'd be like, oh, well, that's one less thing,
exactly.
Like there's lots of things we're going to have to deal with. There's lots of changes that we want to consider and make, and obviously it's going to be a busy off season, both on the court and off the court. But at least we don't have to worry about there being some jerk in the locker room that is going to, submarine our chances of doing X, Y, and Z.
One less thing. That's a better way of saying it.
One less thing, exactly. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of the Blazers Balcony, presented by Spirit Mountain Casino. 4 games left for your Portland Trail Blazers. Nuggets on Monday, Spurs on Wednesday, Clippers on Friday, and wrapping up with the Kings on Sunday.
Nicely done.
So, yeah, one is today. Today is Sunday. Yes, today's Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to those of you who celebrate. Season over in 1 week. 4 games.
Man.
4 games to decide the rest of the season, whether or not the Trailblazers have a decent chance of making the playoffs or an outside chance of making the playoffs.
At least we're talking playoffs.
But at least we're talking playoffs. Exactly. There is at least a chance. You could not have said that in the past couple seasons. So for myself, for Brooke, for the fine folks at Spirit Mountain Casino, thank you so much for your support. We are going to have a live show out at Spirit Mountain Casino here whenever the season does end. Hopefully not for a while, but when it does, we will be out at Spirit Mountain Casino yapping, wrapping up the season.
Yapping and rapping.
Rolling some dice, playing some Frankenstein Returns. Playing some Buffalo.
Buffalo, yes.
Some Extreme 21.
Coyote Moon.
Coyote Moon.
Yeah, that's my
I will be playing Price is Right and Monopoly. Brooke will not.
No, don't do it.
Yeah.
Do not do it.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to do the
wheels.
The wheels.
Brooke's not a wheel fan.
No, it gets you by the way it looks and the sounds, but it's not a winner.
But do you not like playing roulette?
No, that's
well,
totally
I know, but
no, I like playing roulette. Yeah. I'm just talking about in my opinion, in my extreme expertise of the slots, the ones that get you are like whatever movie's coming out and they're trying to promote that, or the what is wrong with me? What's the wheel? The Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was like, what was I calling it?
But I do feel like there's multiple slot machines that have like some wheel. A lot of times they're like the progressives.
There are.
Yeah.
Those are a little different. I don't know. The Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune's just not your thing.
It's just not my thing.
Did you watch Wheel as a kid?
I was more Jeopardy, but
yeah, we were Jeopardy.
Yeah, we're a big Jeopardy family because my mom always won, so she'd make us play because she would always win.
I could see her being one of those.
Yeah. And then she'd like only have one word right out of it. She's like, "It still counts. It still counts."
No, that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count.
No.
But don't tell her that.
No. Well, the next 4 games will count for the Portland Trailblazers, so hopefully they're able to win at least a couple of them. I think Blazers got to go at least 2-2 in order to make the playoffs. If they go 3-1, then you're feeling really good about it. If they win all 4,
boom,
bam. That'd be great. We'll talk to you soon. Probably, maybe, I don't know if we'll get in another one before the end of the season, Brooklyn.
Well, we'll try.
But if not, we will talk to you. Maybe that's how we'll get you on the road for the play-in. Brooke's got to go on the podcast. Like we have responsibilities to our listeners and to our sponsors. And we could do it over Zoom, but it's really just the quality is not the same.
It's about the sound quality.
Yeah, exactly. Sound quality, the content quality. Yes. You need Brooke Olzendam wherever the action's taking
place. Put it out there. Manifest it.
Manifest it.
All right.
Manifest. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace out.